Welcome to this video where I'm going to be answering the question, what is the cheapest hotel in the entire world? Now usually if I want to find out something, I just do a quick Google search, but on this question that's not an option because there seems to be no definitive answers. Let's take a look for a quick YouTube search. If I put in world's cheapest hotel, it comes up with various options, all with conflicting information of what's cheapest. The first one is a capsule hotel, $7 a night. $7 is £5.88. That is not the cheapest capsule hotel because I've actually stayed in a capsule hotel for just £5.00 in Lviv in Ukraine. That was actually a really nice hotel despite how cheap it is. So that $7 one is not actually the cheapest. Now there really is mixed results here. You've got $1 hotel, looks like a bed in the middle of the Antarctic or something. I don't think that's a genuine one. You've got various things, bed in desert. I'm not going to include a lot bed in desert, but I think those are just thumbnails. You've literally got all kinds of different options here, like $16. So I'm going to have to do my own research because by the looks of that, there's no definitive answer. So let's get on to booking.com, which is what I use for booking hotels most of the time. I find this website probably the most reliable out of all of them. So before I look at a world's cheapest hotel, let's just check out the UK's cheapest hotel. So let's put in United Kingdom. And I'm going to set it about a month in advance, do it midweek, so it should be nice and cheap, one adult. Let's have a look. So it never shows cheapest start, we have to set price to cheapest. And let's see what's cheapest. £5 a night for Sun Inn. Now on my pre-research, when I did like some pre-text of this video, this one is a bit dodgy. Because if you scroll down, single room, £5 a night. Double room, £83 a night. Something's not right there. I think the person made a mistake when they entered in their prices into booking.com. So you take a look at a single room, that looks nice. You wouldn't get that for £5, especially not in this country. If you look at double room, it's pretty much the same thing, but with a double bed. So this one is clearly a mistake. So I'm not going to include this one on my list. So next one is the cheapest dormitory. 8.2 score, that's pretty good. £10 a night. I'm actually disappointed that the cheapest dormitory is £10 a night because I've stayed in dormitories much cheaper than that. I'd say £10 a night is a medium price for a dormitory. I've travelled a lot throughout the world and I know of many dormitories much cheaper. So I'm very disappointed at the cheapest dormitory in the entire country. This shows how overpriced the UK is. If you can't get a dormitory cheaper than £10, UK is really overpriced. So this is your basic dormitory. It says no photos. There's a picture of it. Very basic actually. I should be like £7 rather than 10, but well. Anyway, let's now continue on the list. Now I want to find out what's the cheapest private room. Now on booking.com, it's best not simply to scroll through and find the first private room because a lot of hostels have both dormitories and private rooms. It always shows the cheapest one. So to make sure I don't miss anything, instead of doing that, what I'm going to do is click show me private rooms only. That makes sure I don't miss any because the dormitories would otherwise get in the way. Now the cheapest private room is the Midway. Oh dear, 3.3 out of 10. It's a shithole. Let's take a look at this. The room versus basic, but for cheap rooms, I don't actually care for rooms basic. As long as it's a functional room that you can sleep in, that's all I care about. Now this is the genuinely most cheap room in the UK, not including that first one. £15 a night is expensive for the UK's cheapest room. I've stayed in hotels that are like £7, £10 a night. My cheapest is probably £5 a night, that capsule one in Ukraine. So £15 a night for your cheapest room shows that the UK is very overpriced with hotels. If you take a look at the reviews are not looking very good for this place. Everything is what I say is bad about it. Oh dear, bed bugs in the room. That's probably the only thing I really fear with hotels is bed bugs because that's one thing I really don't want. The toilet wasn't clean, there's things saying about mould. This place doesn't look that good. So let's now leave the UK. Let's actually start our mission. What is the cheapest hotel in the entire planet? What country should I search first? Well, since I was talking about Ukraine, let's search Ukraine. Now, Ukraine is a really epic country, one of the best countries I've been to. Really sad to think about what's going on in Ukraine at a minute. Ukraine has incredibly cheap places. So we go lowest price first. We can take a look. Your cheapest one is £2 a night. That gives you an idea of Ukraine prices. That's your cheapest dormitory. That is cheap. And it's got 7.9 as well. It's got a good score. If we take a look at the pictures of the rooms, let's see what it looks like. You've got very much open bunk dormitory. I really do not like sleeping in open bunk dormitories like that. I like dormitories where it's got like privacy curtains. So best option I think is a capsule hotel because capsule hotels are incredibly good because you actually get privacy and you get a good price. It's the best of both worlds. Second best is dormitories with curtains around the bed because it's almost like a capsule hotel, but when it's completely open beds, as much as I want to do things on the cheap, and I really am trying to do stuff on the cheap, I don't really like staying in dormitories like that where literally everyone can see you sleeping. So let's take a look at what other options there are in Ukraine. And you can see it's consistently cheap. Lots and lots of places are £2 a night, which is, that one there I think is your cheapest privacy dormitory. So a dormitory with curtains, which is the how do you say it? At Podol Hostel. That is quite a strange name. That one, yeah, that's actually a very nice dormitory actually. I'd certainly stay there. That's pretty good. You've got the curtains around here. It's like, it's cheap accommodation. Like, having your own private room is obviously better, but when you're trying to do cheap flight adventures on the cheap, you really are trying to often go for the cheapest there is. Although for me, I'm usually going for the cheapest private room a lot of the time rather than the cheapest dormitory, but it depends how I'm feeling and how much money I have to spend. So then, let's now take a look at what is the cheapest private room in Ukraine. So let's go show private rooms only, and twin room £2. Now this one I think is in a very, very small town. That is cheap, £2 for a twin room. But it's £6 for a dormitory? Okay, that one I think is a mistake, so I'm going to leave that one off my list. Let's go to one that isn't a mistake. Annoyingly, Booking.com sometimes shows dormitories when I've ticked private rooms only. There you got standard triple room, £3. Another dormitory, you got a couple more dormitories showing up. It shouldn't do. Tent, I'm not sure if I'm going to include tents. Standard quadruple room, £4. Although some of these, I think translation sometimes goes wrong and they don't tick the right things on Booking.com, because this one says quadruple room, 1 twin bed, which doesn't quite make sense, but I think that's actually a dorm. On translations, when these people don't speak English that way, I often tick the wrong options. But if I go down there, that's double room, 2 beds, 1 sofa bed, 1 queen bed. That I think there might be your absolute cheapest private room in Ukraine. Double room, if we take a look at that. Is there any pictures of the room? It's just showing it. I wouldn't trust that if it doesn't. It shows pictures of the outside, but doesn't show pictures of the room. That's not so good. But you get the idea. That's how cheap things can be in Ukraine. And this is the middle of nowhere. I don't think you get it quite that cheap in a city. Yeah, it's literally in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of Ukraine. Okay, quick jump cut there. Just decided to click a few more search options. If you scroll down this list, you've got this capsule hotel. This is the one I stayed in Lviv for £6 a night. Now, when I stayed it was actually £5 a night, which is incredibly good price. The pictures are slightly strange. Why are they showing various like astronauts? That's a bit weird. They're trying to make it look futuristic. I guess it was a bit futuristic, but it wasn't particularly over futuristic. It was actually just a nice place actually to stay. That is kind of what it looks like. It's very basic. They just literally a bed and nothing else. But it's all you need. When you're going abroad, you're not there to like stay in a hotel all day. That's really all you need. It's unlike a dorm, it's actually properly enclosed, so it feels more private than a dorm. But do I actually need a full room when having a little capsule is good enough? That is literally an excellent hotel, and it's £5 a night. So there are good cheap options. Cheap doesn't always mean bad. Some cheap options are really good. And this one, if you look at guest reviews, is scored 9.2 out of 10. So that was a particularly good place. So then, let's now see if there's any cheaper places than Ukraine. Before I do that, let's have a little tangent and just take a look at what is the cheapest place in the European Union. Because Ukraine's not in the European Union, which is partly why prices are so cheap. So what do you think is the cheapest country in the EU? I'm going to say it's probably either Poland, Romania or Bulgaria. So let's start off with Poland. Search the whole of Poland, that's a very big area. What do you think will be the cheapest hotel? The cheapest one is tent. £1. I'm not sure if I want to include tents on my list because I don't know. But look at these pictures. There is no tent. So is that a space for a tent? Does that mean you have to bring your own? I'm confused. A 3-person tent £1, a 1-person tent £11. Okay, that one's a bit suspect. Next one, Peace and Quiet. £3 for a tent. It's got a good rating, 9.6. I'm not sure if tents count from my list of cheapest hotel really. I don't think I'm going to count this, but let's have a look anyway. A tent is £3. How do you stay warm? Do they provide heating? Because Poland will get very cold, especially when I've got set to February. That's going to be ever so cold. Do they provide heating? Is it space for a tent? Or does it actually include a tent? So they provide a tent for you. I hope they provide it for me. I don't want to bring my own tent. Guest reviews. All very, very good reviews. The tent's well kept. No, I don't think you could sleep in a tent in this weather, but well, let's skip the tent ones. And you got their classic quadruple room. £4 for a quadruple room in Poland. Poland is very cheap, but is it quite that cheap? I'm not sure. 2 full beds. 1 person £4. So is that right? For £4 you get a full quadruple room. Even that is so cheap. Like, if that's definitely not a dorm and that is your own private room, that is really, I don't know what to say about that. That is so cheap. Although I'm guessing that's probably going to be in the middle of nowhere in Poland. Yes, in the middle of Poland I probably would never visit because it literally is in the middle of nowhere. Okay, let's go down a few more. Got a few more tents. Actually quite a lot of tents. And you've got a dormitory room there for £6. What is the cheapest private room in a city? Let's see. That's not in the middle of nowhere. I want to do one that's in a proper city. Studio apartment, £9. If you get a full apartment for £9, that is very good. And that is actually in a major city as well. Well, maybe not a major city, a very small city, but it is in a city. So it shows you that prices can be cheap, and it shows how expensive the UK is. Now, the big question is, will Bulgaria beat Poland? Let's find out. I'm not sure if Bulgaria will beat Poland. I actually don't know, because Bulgaria is cheaper than Poland, but they don't have as big a range of stuff. So I think Poland will be cheaper. Oh, £0. Okay, £0. That one is clearly a mistake or a scam or something, so I'm not going to include that one on the list. Generally speaking, Booking.com doesn't really have scams on it. Not really much, as far as I'm seeing. There's one place I stayed in Italy, which moved me to a different location after one night. That was a bit scammy, but generally speaking, Booking.com is pretty good. But this one, I've got no trust. So no, £1 there, zero. Yeah, it's. I don't know. I'd like to think that's a mistake rather than they are deliberately trying to cause problems for you, but that's a bit strange. So let's scroll down. You've got dormitory. Cheapest dormitory, £8 for Bulgaria. I'm surprised. I thought Bulgaria would be cheaper than that. I generally thought Bulgaria would be a lot cheaper than that. Let's look at private rooms now. Ignore that silly £0 one. As a dormitory, often the search tools on Booking.com sometimes returns dormitories when you press private room. Empty lot. What on earth is an empty lot? Does that mean you put a tent there? Yeah, it's something for you to put a tent on. Triple room, 2 beds, 1 twin and 1 queen, £9. It is a very basic looking room, but you don't need anything more in a basic room really. I'm going to these places to see the place. I don't care really what the room's like as long as I can sleep in it and it's clean. So there you go, £9. That means that Poland beat Bulgaria. Poland is cheaper. Let's try Romania. I don't think Romania will be cheaper. These countries are all fairly on par as being roughly the same level of cheapness. In general, Romania is cheaper than Poland. The food is cheaper in Romania and Poland. Both are cheap, by the way. But for hotels, so your cheapest one in Romania, another £0. Let's ignore that one. Single room, 1 full bed, £4. Ooh, Romania is cheaper than Bulgaria and is actually on par with Poland. That's interesting. That is very interesting. Single room, 1 person £4, 2 person £32. That's a big difference. When the difference is like that, I sometimes think it might be a mistake. But anyway, you get a general idea. That's how cheap things can be in the EU. But so, I think that's the EU done. Let's now go and take a look at other parts of the world. What parts of the world have very cheap places to stay? Well, I've been watching Bored and Bankrupt and been seeing some of the really cheap places he stays at. But there's a problem, because this is Russia. And Russia is not going to work because of the sanctions. It's not possible to search Russia or Belarus. Companies cannot trade with those countries. So Russia's out of the question because I think Russia might have been the cheapest, especially in the villages and like the very remote parts where there's a lot of poverty. But I'm going to have to now think of somewhere else. Let's get up the map of the world. Where is cheap and where is expensive? Well, I can tell you where's expensive. Switzerland! Oh my, Switzerland's expensive. World's most expensive country, and it's about on par with Liechtenstein, Iceland, which is also just as expensive. Switzerland apparently is the most expensive, but there's barely any difference between Switzerland, Iceland, and also Norway. Norway is extremely expensive, roughly the same as Switzerland. Interestingly, everyone says Sweden's expensive, and it is a bit, but not anywhere close to Norway, Iceland, or Switzerland. So, Switzerland. Let's have a search around Switzerland. Just out of interest, the world's most expensive country, what will be their cheapest hotel? That is £1. Except I'm very certain that one is a mistake. That is a mistake. 1 person, £1. 2 people, £88. That's clearly a mistake. So ignoring that one, the next one down for a dormitory is £19, which is interesting actually, because from what I remembered in Switzerland, dormitories were around, well, I got one for £20, that was in Basel. They're usually around £25, £35, so very expensive for dormitories. £20 for a dormitory is kind of right sort of thing. Where's this one located? This is going to be located, is this middle of nowhere? Yeah, kind of middle of nowhere. So for your £19, let's take a look at what a room looks like. Got pictures of the kitchen. That's the room. Oh, those are close together. I would not like that. No privacy at all on that. Fucking hell. What do you think is the cheapest private room in Switzerland? Have a guess. It's going to be a lot. It's still showing some dormitories. Cottage, £32. I'm actually surprised. Although even if you think these ones are okay priced, you should see the price of the food in Switzerland. Fucking hell. Although, I actually feel the price of food in Norway is more expensive than Switzerland. Even though Switzerland's technically the most expensive country, food in Norway was absolutely extortionate. For a McDonald's meal, it was £10. Like, ugh. Cottage, let's have a look at this. What do you get for this? Oh, that looks horrible in the snow. That looks so cold. You get that? Well, that's actually not bad for £30, considering it's Switzerland. Let's see what else. As a dormitory, £32 for a dormitory. Like, when you get into the cities, you see things get very expensive very quickly. £36 for that one, that's a twin room. But if I was to put in an actual city, let's say, I don't know, Basel, you'll see that the cheapest room in Basel is going to be super expensive. Like, the cheapest dormitory is now £32. It's £20 when I went there ages ago. £32 for a dormitory is so expensive. But then if you go along up the prices, you get like £50 dormitory. That one's a capsule hotel. £51 for a capsule hotel. That's expensive. Then you got their single room with shared bathroom, £63. Yeah, it gives you an idea on Switzerland prices. Let's just for comparison, let's do Norway, which is the second most expensive country in the world. Or maybe the third, depends which way you rank them. Tent is £23. Oh my, these prices. How can a tent be £23? It doesn't show any pictures of the tent. It shows pictures of the location. I want to see what a tent looks like. Or do you have to bring your own tent? No, surely not. £23 you have to bring your own tent. I'll just sleep in the woods. Single room, are you getting a private room there? For £21. That's reasonable. Like the UK, you rarely get things that cheap. Yet this is Norway. It does show up. Even most expensive countries occasionally do get cheap locations, although these don't seem to be in the cities. Meanwhile, in this capital, in Oslo, a dormitory is £31. That's expensive. Okay, let's now get back on the mission again, and let's go back to looking for the cheapest. So look at this map of the world. Where in the world is going to be your cheapest country? Now, let's have a think. Maybe somewhere in the middle of Africa. The problem is, middle of Africa places aren't usually on Booking.com. Got India, that'll possibly be a very cheap place. No, Bangladesh, Pakistan, maybe somewhere in South America. Let's try South America first. Let's try Brazil. That should have some very cheap places. Okay, £1. I'm not sure that one is real or not. That might be a mistake. £3 for a one-bedroom house. Oh, maybe is that real? I actually don't know what prices are like in Brazil, so I've got no idea. I've never been. No, that's a mistake, I think. Yeah, it must be, because it goes £3.27, so let's ignore that one. Dormitory, £4. Okay, let's do private rooms now. Bungalow with fan, £5. Tent, £5. Dormitory, £5. Quadruple room with private bathroom, £5. Well, Brazil is cheap. Like, that is cheap. But let's try another country. Let's try somewhere in the middle of Africa. I'm not sure which one to try out of all these countries. These be set tourists go to fairly regularly, otherwise it won't be on Booking.com. I don't know, Cameroon. Okay, not as cheap as I thought for Cameroon. Double room, £11. That's your cheapest on the list. Let's have a look at it. That looks reasonable. That does the job. You're just staying here, like, cheap place to sleep. Okay, I thought it'd be cheaper though for like middle of Africa. Let's try somewhere else. Let's try Egypt actually. The thing is, you have to remember, in some of these destinations you have to pay for a visa to get in. That often will make it not as cheap as it might appear on the hotel prices. So Egypt, you've got consistently £2, £3, £4. That is in a dormitory for £2. Let's look at private rooms. 2-bed apartment, £2. Surely not. Is it that cheap? £2 for a 2-bed apartment. No pictures. That one doesn't count. There's no pictures. Economy single room, £3. Mini rooms. That's going to be very small. That is very basic. Still, that's still good enough for me. As long as you can actually sleep on the bed, that is good enough. That is a bit basic. Even, like, wow, it's basic. But that is good enough, £3. You get your own private room. That is good enough. Like, Oasis Resort, surely you don't get an actual resort for £4. Surely not. £4, £11, £16, could be. What do you get for that? A hut. You don't get much in your hut. As long as it's warm enough, that'll be good enough. So you just got a hut on the beach, like a beach hut. Oh, that could work, as long as it's warm. I don't think you'd want to do that in the cold season. Pyramids Hotel. As is near the pyramids. I always think it might be a scam. Maybe not, as prices are quite low. Apartment. £3 apartment's going to get you. Oh, okay, that's alright. Very, very basic, but alright. I'm surprised for being near the pyramids. Like, that's usually most of the scams and all of the overpriced stuff is near the pyramids. It's actually, knowing how much scams are around pyramids, I'm slightly questioning why some top tourist destination might be at cheap there. Okay, let's now go on to places where you know it's going to be cheap. Let's try Japan. Now, Japan isn't that cheap, but it is the home of the Capsule Hotel. So Japan should have a lot of nice cheap capsule places. One thing that really gets me is, why doesn't Europe have more capsule hotels? Because capsule hotels are perfect. They're better than a dormitory. And do you really need your own private room when a capsule can be good enough? It gives you enough privacy, from what I found, to be better than a dorm. So there should be more of them, because it's a really good, economical, cheap way. Like, there's not many of them in Europe. Looking at Japan, there should be a lot more of them. 15-minute walk. That is a strange name for. You get an apartment, one bed apartment for £2. Sleep 6 people. That's actually a dormitory, not an apartment. But still, that's alright. Empty lot. You should sleep on the beach for £5? Oh, you meant to put a tent on it, okay. Lohas Villa, £6. Not looking very good on the reviews, that one. That's a dormitory. And those pictures of it don't tell me a thing. Yeah, these are all dormitories. Let's get rid of the dormitories now. And this one I think is going to be your cheapest private room, not counting that other one. Japanese style economy single room without TV. £7 a night. That's a kind of okay price, but is that just bedding on the floor? No mattress? Or is that a mattress? No, is that a mattress or not? Yeah, you do get a mattress on the floor. No, I don't think so. I need to sleep comfy. Park Inn. Now, considering Park Inn is a brand of medium expensive hotel in England, Park Inn's actually a very cheap hotel in Japan. That does not look comfy. This doesn't look comfy. I don't get. Well, I guess it's cheap. Well, £9 a night is not as cheap as some other places I've seen. Interesting, there's not many capsules, which I'm a bit disappointed about. It's Japan. Is that your first capsule there? Does that count as a capsule, or does that count as a privacy dorm? It's kind of halfway between. It's not quite a pure capsule. Well, maybe it is. Maybe just enough that it'd count as a capsule. It's £13 a night. Not that cheap for a capsule. Like £5 in Ukraine. Okay, this one here, from what I could tell, seems to be your first proper capsule. Like, there's a few other privacy dorms, which is like a dorm bed with curtains up. This one, I think, is your first actual capsule. And that is £17 a night. So Japan's not really that cheap. Like, for a capsule, you're paying £17. Like, okay, that's probably English standards, that's okay. I can't really compare it to England, though, because England doesn't get capsule hotels. But I would have thought you'd get a capsule hotel for like £8 or something. Probably, I wasn't thinking it'd be £5 like Ukraine, but I was hoping you might get one under 10. A bit disappointing, actually, the cheapest one is £17. Although that looks perfectly reasonable, that place. I'd be happy to stay there. Is that a swimming pool or a bath? Or is that halfway between the two? I'm not sure. If you had a swimming pool in a capsule hotel for £17 a night, that would be good. What does that mean? No vapes? No pregnancy tests? What is that? Sadly, there's no picture showing what's inside the capsules. That's a shame. So then, now let's focus on the absolute cheapest countries. And I'm thinking India might be the cheapest. India or Pakistan? Let's try India. So in India, there's a lot. Oh, £1. Normally when I see it £1, I think someone's made a mistake. But with that many being £1, that is the actual price. So I think I've now found the world's cheapest hotel. It's in India. Pink City Hostel. Although with that said, remember the absolute cheapest places are probably not even going to be on booking.com. Like I bet some really cheap places in Africa are not on booking.com. So this is the world's cheapest as available on booking.com. I believe is Pink City Hostel. And maybe as another country it is cheaper, but I think India's going to be at least one of the absolute cheapest. £1. That's your absolute cheapest, is £1. Is a very basic dorm, very sort of open sort of dorm, sort of place I don't like staying, should have no privacy. But that's your cheapest, £1 in India. Let's just check where it is. Oh, it is in a city. Okay, that's in a city. Not in the countryside. Interesting. Let's now take a look at the cheapest private room. Family room with garden view. £1. Is this one genuine? For this, you're getting 1 sofa bed and 3 queen beds. Sleeps 8 people, £1. I reckon that's actually a dorm. I don't think you get a full 8 beds for £1, even in India. First picture shows something that's got nothing to do with the hotel. Let's see what this looks like. Family room with garden view. If you're getting all of those beds for £1, I'll be amazed, but I think that is a dorm. A dorm with double beds does seem a bit odd, actually. Next one's a tent for £1. Does it provide tents or do you have to bring your own? That is not clear. The tent's provided or do you have to bring your own tent? That's quite colourful. There's your tents. As long as it doesn't get cold at night, that's reasonable. I guess, although I'm not sure about sleeping in a tent. 2-bedroom chalet for £2. New to booking.com, 1 review. Okay, I'm disregarding that one. Anything with not many people reviewed, you can't really count. Double room, 3 full beds. That doesn't quite make sense. A double room has got 3 beds. That's £2. Budget double room, £2. Let's have a look at this one. Complete with a slightly grubby looking toilet. That is the bed. That's your basic room. So then I just had to re-record a little bit of this video because I realised a couple of properties that I looked at which I was going to put in. I suddenly realised I only had like 1 review. I had a couple of things a bit dodgy about them. So just so I can definitely confirm that it's actually properties for £2 a night. I had a look at this one and this one seems like it is genuine because this one's had 75 reviews. People seem to be reviewing it well, so it seems like it is actually a genuine place. Looking on the map, where is it located? It's located in a town. I don't think that's a city, that's kind of a town, but it's not a countryside either. So this one seems like it's an actual town residence. It's £2 a night for a single room, and it seems pretty reasonable. It looks kind of like that, so it looks, that'd be quite posh if that was in like another country. If you click single room, have a look at it, that's the bed. It's got a cannabis leaf on the bed. That's a bit weird, but that is actually a genuine single room that people have actually reviewed, so it's real. And it's £2 a night. So I think that gives the answer to the question in this video. The cheapest hotel in the world on booking.com is in India. Let's now see if Bangladesh can beat India. Okay, already we can see that Bangladesh does not beat India. Cheapest one is £5. Okay, let's now try Pakistan. And Pakistan also does not beat India. So your dormitory there is £3. Okay, let's try Malaysia, so I actually don't know that part of the world that well. Malaysia, bed in a mixed dorm, £3. And what about a private room? Quadruple room, 3 beds, 1 full bed, 2 bunk beds, £5. That's cheap, like these are really good prices, but it does not beat India. Single capsule bed, £5. That's on the same price as Ukraine. Let's have a look at this one. This one is in a city. It's in quite a big city, although not the capital city. And you get a single capsule bed. Okay, that is actually a capsule room. And that is £5. That is perfectly good. Okay, let's now try Thailand finally, because I've heard that Bangkok is pretty cheap. Oh, and Thailand might actually be beating India. Look at these prices. Lots of £1 and lots of £2. But are these genuine or are these where someone's made a mistake or is trying to scam you? Let's have a look. Jan Shripum? I'm not sure you pronounce that. And that's actually got one person £1, two person £13. That's a scam. I don't know. Are any of these genuine? That's the problem with the ones that are £1. Got a tent there. You got a triple room £3. Again, that's this weird thing. One person £1, two people £11. I reckon that's meant to be 11 as well, and I forgot to put in the second one. So on that basis, India is your cheapest. Then India's your cheapest. Okay, that's interesting. I don't think there might be another country I've forgotten. Like, if you think there is, leave a comment in the comment section. Maybe there is another country even cheaper somewhere, but it seems like India is literally your absolute cheapest country, and you could actually get a full room for £2. If you think you can beat that, leave a comment in the comment section. I challenge you to find a full room. It has to be either a capsule or a private room cheaper than £2. It can't be a dormitory or a semi-capsule dormitory where it's like a dorm but with privacy features but isn't a full capsule. That doesn't count. It has to either be a full capsule or a private room. If you can get it for less than £2, leave a comment in the comment section. And one final thing before I finish the video is doing the rounds on the internet or quite a few newspapers is this place. Now this place is a dormitory, so it doesn't quite count on my list for a private room. But a lot of places are claiming that this is the world's cheapest hotel. This is located in Bangladesh, interestingly, so maybe Bangladesh is as cheap as India. The only problem is trying to actually find these sort of super cheap places. These don't really appear on any English websites. If you try and search in English for various hostels or hotels as cheap places to stay in India or Bangladesh, you just can't find these places. You need to be able to speak the local language. I probably assume that no foreigner would ever want to stay in a place like this, basically. This place costs 30p a night for a dormitory room, and you don't even get a proper separate bed. Everyone's sort of like squeezed in together. So this is a very cheap place. But is it the world's cheapest dormitory? Problem is, you really don't know. It's very hard to search and find places. Getting to these sort of very obscure places, often in very impoverished areas, these don't appear on like Western websites like Booking.com and stuff. So it's very hard to find literally what is cheapest. But if you do know a way of finding cheap places, or you do know an extremely cheap hotel, and you can beat my £2 for a private room, make sure you leave a comment in the comment section.